The moment an officer says, "Step out of the vehicle," most drivers make one critical error. They immediately open the door without saying a word. Within 30 seconds, they've surrendered every tactical advantage. The officer positions you away from your vehicle, separates you from your recording device, gains full visual control of your body language. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos showing this exact pattern. I've identified where drivers lose control of the encounter, and today I'm showing you the exact words to say before you move 1 inch. These tactical responses create a legal record that protects your rights without escalating the situation. This isn't about refusing orders. This is about understanding one critical distinction that changes everything. What happens in the next 3 seconds determines the entire outcome of your stop. First, tactical truth. There's a massive difference between an officer asking you to step out and ordering you to step out. Most drivers never catch this distinction, and that's exactly why they lose tactical position before the encounter even begins. Officers use soft language that sounds polite, but functions as a command. "Can you step out for me?" "Do you mind stepping out?" "I'm going to need you to exit the vehicle." That phrasing is deliberate. It's designed to get voluntary compliance without triggering your awareness that you're being ordered versus asked. Why this works on you? Your brain processes polite language as a request. You naturally want to be cooperative. You don't want to seem difficult, so you comply voluntarily, not realizing you just gave away something you didn't have to give. When you step out voluntarily, everything afterward looks consensual on video. The body cam captures you opening your door without hesitation. Later, your lawyer can't argue you were compelled. On tape, it looks like you wanted to get out. Body cam evidence shows this pattern constantly. Driver hears friendly phrasing. Driver exits immediately. Officer uses that voluntary compliance as foundation for everything that follows. Search, extended questioning, separation from vehicle, all justified by your initial voluntary cooperation. Officer training specifically teaches this soft language technique. They learn that drivers comply more willingly when commands sound like suggestions. Willing cooperation gives officers more tactical options than forced compliance. Your counter move. The second an officer mentions stepping out, "Officer, just to be clear, are you asking me or are you ordering me to step out of the vehicle?" That sentence does 3 critical things simultaneously. Forces the officer to commit. They must clarify whether it's optional or mandatory. Creates a clear record on both body cams that you understand the difference between voluntary and compelled action. Buys you 2 seconds to think tactically while they answer. If it's a request, you can decline. "I'd prefer to remain in my vehicle, officer." If it's an order, you know you must comply to avoid arrest, and you move to your next tactical response. That clarification just changed the entire dynamic. You've signaled you understand police tactics, but knowing whether it's a request or order is only the first layer. Even when it's an order, there's something critical you must do before you move. Once you've confirmed it's an order, most people think the next move is to immediately comply. Wrong. There's a critical tactical step first. You need to establish on record why the officer is using that authority on you at this specific moment. Under Pennsylvania versus Mims, officers can order you out during a lawful traffic stop based on general officer safety, but that ruling doesn't give them unlimited power. They need a legitimate safety basis connected to the traffic stop. When you ask for the lawful basis, you're creating a record of their justification. If they have a valid reason, they'll state it clearly. "I observed furtive movements. I saw a bulge." Your behavior raised safety concerns, but without a valid reason, their answer becomes vague, or they default to generic language without specific facts. Body cam analysis shows officers respond 3 ways when drivers ask for the basis: valid reason with specific facts, vague response without observations, or defensive authority assertion without explanation. Officers don't like articulating the specific reason on camera because now they must justify it with actual facts, not just cite case law. Your counter move. After they confirm it's an order: "Officer, for the record, what is the lawful basis for ordering me out of the vehicle?" This forces articulation of specific facts, creates a timestamp showing you asked for justification. Say it calmly. No attitude, no challenge in tone. Most drivers never ask this. They comply silently. Now you've established it's an order and asked for the basis. But before you reach for that door handle, There's one more critical move. If you don't announce your position before you exit, you've made it look voluntary. You've confirmed it's an order. You've asked for the basis. Now comes the biggest mistake. They silently open the door and step out. No statement, no announcement. On camera, silent compliance looks like willing cooperation. When you exit without saying anything, the video shows voluntary action. Even though ordered out, your silent response makes it look consensual. Why does that matter? Because later, if the officer searches you, your lawyer wants video showing you were compelled, not willing. Court cases hinge on voluntary versus compelled. When you exit silently, prosecutors argue you could have protested but didn't. Field reality shows this constantly. Driver ordered out. Driver exits without comment. Officer conducts pat-down. Finds contraband. Defense moves to suppress. Prosecution argues cooperation. Judge sees silent compliance. Motion denied. Your countermove. Before you touch that door handle, officer, I am complying under protest and my hands will remain visible. That line does 4 critical things. Establishes you're not exiting willingly. Announces hands stay visible, preventing claims of threatening movements. Creates clear record. Changes compliance from cooperation to submission. Say it loud enough. Both body cams pick it up. You've deployed 3 tactical responses. You clarified it's an order. You demanded the basis. You announced compliance under protest. But now you're outside, and the officer's authority to order you out does not give them authority to do something else that happens next. You're standing outside. Here's where most make the next error. They assume that because the officer had authority to remove them, the officer now has authority to search them. Dead wrong. These are completely separate legal standards. Pennsylvania versus Mims gives officers authority to order you out, but to search your person, they need reasonable suspicion you're armed and dangerous. To search your vehicle, they need probable cause, your consent, or specific exception. The exit order doesn't create search authority. These happen close together. Officer orders you out. You exit. Officer immediately says, "Do you have anything on you?" Or, "You don't mind if I pat you down?" The proximity makes the search feel like part of the exit. It's not. It's a separate action requiring separate justification. Driver exits. Officer asks about weapons or drugs. Driver says, "No, officer, nothing illegal." Officer says, "Mind if I make sure?" Driver says, "Go ahead." You just consented to a search. That consent is on camera. Consent cures almost all Fourth Amendment defects. Your countermove. Officer, I do not consent to any searches of my person or my vehicle. Say it clearly. Say it calmly. This removes consent as their basis. If they ask why, don't explain. Just repeat, I do not consent to searches. Here's the field rule. Comply with lawful exit orders while deploying tactical countermoves. You're creating a legal record that documents compelled versus voluntary actions. Remember the 4 countermoves. Am I free to leave? I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I want to speak with an attorney. I do not consent to searches. Practice saying these 3 times. Officer, are you asking me or ordering me to step out? Officer, what is the lawful basis for ordering me out? I am complying under protest and my hands will remain visible. This is tactical education only, not legal advice. Consult a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Hit that like button. Subscribe to Traffic Stop Tactics. Hit the bell. Share this with everyone who drives. The next tactical training is on screen right now. Watch it before your next stop. Control the interaction. Control the outcome. You've been trained.